There we are. You know what, though? I bet the guy next to me looks a little bit different. First off, welcome in to the eighth. That's right. The one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eighth episode of the Shootin' Range. Running strong, running long, running hard.
Episode of what?
The Shootin' Range. Yeah. We're live with the Shootin' Range. We're right here. We're in the little labyrinth. Nobody knows where it's at. You can see behind us. It's huge.
Great.
Oh, yeah. There's the number to call. It's me, the natural born leader, Johnny Z.
And it's me. You want to introduce me?
I
can.
normally do.
Yeah.
But you're different. You know what I like guys
What's
to
that?
be themselves.
Okay. Ladies and actually it's just a bunch of dudes watching this. Who are we kidding? It's a wrestling show. It is the one and the only, the first and the last. Is Lights Out Jordan Jacobs. How are you doing, sir? I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, man, I know you're doing fantastic.
Yes.
I can tell. I'm doing fantastic. The Miller High Life is fantastic.
Champagne of beer.
They don't need our sponsorship, but we'll give it to
Hey,
them.
let's take a drink for all the vets out there.
Bam, yeah.
That's right.
There's so few left. Now, this is the you got to watch this green thing, man. If you go too loud and you pop it, it just pops, man, and it hurts my ear.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Just working through some technical difficulties, folks.
Yeah,
That's
we're
all
all
we're
right.
doing.
I mean, it's
Just
got to
now
be
live.
something in the cord here, Wesley, because it's hooked up just like normal. Just throwing this out there. Y'all are getting to see some technical stuff go down. I don't think this is gonna fit you any better back there, man.
I'm just going to talk about some random stuff.
You're sure you're on the right one back there?
If that's cool. Okay. They're working through some difficulties. I'm getting random text messages from girls asking me to go ice skating with them.
You know what?
That's
You
not
stay
gonna-
live with this.
Yes. I said random. Nah.
Let's
got
stay.
What do you
You
need
stay
to do?
with this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go take care of that. Do it.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I got random girls text me about going ice skating. Why is that even something that I would do? I mean, it's just not gonna happen. Women nowadays. So I figure we're a little behind on this, getting some stuff figured out. Hoping here soon that we'll get some callers. This is my personal first time on the Shootin' Range. That's a machine gun, ladies and gentlemen. You have no idea how expensive the ammunition is. Anyway, it is my first time on the show. It's a pleasure filling in for my good friend, my tag partner on occasion, on most of the occasions, Jermaine Johnson. And I'm here with the lovely natural-born leader, Johnny Z, even sometimes. A lot of different things. He's smart. He's wearing a coat because it's freezing in here. But I thought I'd wear my really awesome Wolves in a Moon shirt that was cut off when I received it. So, get around to some wrestling talk while he's still figuring stuff out. We recently had a very good show ourselves. We've had some good stuff going on. I am currently on the shelf. I know you can't really see that. Maybe you can. It's my surgery for my scar from my recent surgery, and that is true. Everybody, it's the Shootin' Range. Did have surgery. Anyway, been out for a little while. Be out for a little while longer. But doing the physical therapy, doing all the lifting, and getting ready to come back. For any of the people actually out there who are listening who have been wrestlers in the past or in the present, as opposed to the people who may not have, they may know what it's like. They know what it's like when they're on the sidelines. Okay. Yeah. They know what it's like, to be on the sidelines, to be injured. It's pretty hard to go to the ring and everything, when you're not able to wrestle. And we know what that's like. Some of you out there, have been out for extensive injuries, and there's been a few this year. I know John O'Malley unfortunately broke some bones in his ankle. I know Stryker had a serious ordeal this year. He's had a serious ordeal before. Trying to think who else has been out this year. Damian Morte taking time off right now to recover himself from a lot of the injuries he's accumulated. So it is definitely difficult to be on the sidelines, but at least I'm not looking at what happened when I broke my hip. And I think there's probably a lot of new people out there. So I'm just gonna tell a random story off the cuff about when I broke my hip during a match, because that was good stuff. That actually happened here, my first year as a professional. I trained for a while. If you don't know, I did train at the Impact Academy at IZW. I was trained by Jermaine Johnson. A lot of help from Johnny Z. There was Randy Price as well, Aaron Neal as well. So I got some fantastic training here. I really did, for anybody that is possibly thinking about becoming a professional wrestler. I trained at the Impact Academy. I got fantastic training, and so that first year when I had been starting, I was in a six-man tag. Uh, I was feuding with Double D at the time. This is December of 2010. I was feuding with him at the time, and then it was myself, Arrogant Money, Randy Price, and Ostentatious. Man, I know Randy really misses Austin, and we were against Aerial Assault and Double D, and took a bad dive to the concrete, and it was fantastic because I just narrowly missed the protective padding just by this much, and I landed on my hip, broke it clean through. I actually stood up and finished that match. I did, and maybe that's where I'll start shooting a little bit. I finished a six-man tag with a broken hip, and still did another 10 minutes, and I even kicked somebody in the face to get the win in that one. So I hear certain guys in the locker room sometimes who talk about injuries and when they give up in a match, and that's always been something that really irks me, when somebody will give up in a match for whatever reason. There could be some dire circumstances, it's totally understandable, but I don't know. I think you can continue with things like a dislocated shoulder or different things like that. I minutes. So that is to say that we all know what injuries are like. We all face them in some time of our careers. Sometimes they put us on the sidelines. Always unfortunate. One thing that I believed in ever since then, ever since I broke my hip and was out for almost 6 months, and I still feel that. Ever since then, I don't understand it was when somebody comes to me or comes to a locker room saying, trying to explain that they gave up in a match. That's because that's how I look at it, giving up. That they gave up in a match because of some injury. And I get some of them. I mean, we all just saw uh, UFC 168 with Anderson Silva breaking his leg in a gruesome fashion. There are circumstances, there are. But all I have to say is that if I did it with a broken hip, I've seen other guys, do things to where I don't find it wrestling the worker mindset when you get injured in a match and you don't continue that match. John O'Malley this year, I faced him beginning of the match, very beginning, and finished that match. Go running and everything like that, and I just don't understand the opposite. You know what I mean? So that's just something. We're working through some technical difficulties. Thought I'd explain that story for a little bit. Just working through injuries. It does kind of kill me. I've been somebody that even when I am injured, I don't want to stay at the house when I know that there can be some contribution that I can give. And sometimes if it's even just a promo or something like that, or just involvement as a manager, something like that, something to add to the show. And you've heard John talk a lot, I believe, about the show first mentality, and I just think that that's an important thing. It's hard for me to be somebody who's on the shelf, to be able to come here and not actually wrestle in the ring. I love being in the gym. I love being in the ring. And through times like that, I've learned that there's a lot more to what all we do than just just the actual physical aspect, just the wrestling aspect. Because people ask me sometimes if it's just because they just know how I am. They ask me if it's just the physicality that draws me to wrestling. And at one point, that probably was the majority of what drew me to wrestling, was technicality. not technicality. What did I just physicality? But now I get so much more enjoyment out of all the other aspects. We're lucky enough here to have amazing production and amazing equipment to where we're able to film things like HD vignettes and things like that. And it gives you so much more opportunity than just the physicality, which is fantastic because it gives me something to keep me fulfilled and gives me something to continue to contribute. And now that I just wrote a Shakespeare play, I would like to welcome you back to the Shootin Range.
Yeah. So, we have some kind of issue. I'm sorry. We're only coming in on one side, I believe. Jordan, you're killing the numbers, my friend.
Am I too loud?
You're killing them.
Okay.
No, I mean, not too loud. I think we fixed you online.
All right.
I was hearing you, but we still only have one side of audio.
Okay.
And I think I know the issue. I'm not sure we'll get it fixed tonight. But let's look at it this way. Getting to hear us on one speaker is better than getting to hear us on no speakers. And only half as good as getting to hear us on two. But as Scott Steiner would say, numbers never... What'd he say?
Your mother sucks.
Oh, that just goes to show that even his classic moments weren't very important or memorable. I don't want to sound dumb. Sorry.
No, cool.
I feel horrible, though. I honestly do. That we're on our 8th episode. I think I'm going to give us a 10-episode deadline, that by the 10th episode, we need to have all these little small things worked out, these little glitches, you know. We jumped out there a little bit. If we just wanted to do Blog Talk by itself, hey, man, I think this is an easy deal. I think it's a done deal. We'd just be talking on the radio. But we wanted to add in video, and we're so far away from our booth, so there's little issues that come into play.
That's forgivable, though, because this is a pretty high-tech operation. We got targets behind us. We got
do.
All of this.
You know, if I wanted to, I could be like, hey, Wesley, put us in Paris, and we'd be in Paris. And we'd be on top of the Eiffel Tower.
I think at some point
that's a shoot. And if you don't like it, if you don't like a shoot, if you don't like what we have to say, then don't watch.
Yeah.
This is the Shootin Range.
I did some shooting while you were gone.
We wear our ammo on our sleeve.
Wolves on mine.
Tonight I have my special guest, my special co-host, Mr. Jordan Jacobs, Mr. Lights Out, a valued member of the IZW roster. We're short a man down, if you will. He had previous obligations, and as we are men of honor here at IZW, men of
valor.
Yeah. We honor all obligations, whatever they may be. And, by the way, my co-host, Jermaine Johnson, Mr. Larger Than Life himself, Mr. What Wrestling Should Be himself, and another member of my esteemed roster, Double D, the self-proclaimed leader of the Force, I believe it is now. I don't know if he's doing the captain of the Force. I've seen a shift in the young man. We'll see where that takes him in the wrestling world. Everybody evolves, I think. If you don't, then you reach a point, and that's where you stay. You know, we came in tonight not 100% sure what we were going to talk about. Jordan has come up with some interesting ideas, some word association games. He talked like you. I think he wanted to interview me. That right there, pretty cool. My co-host coming in with the idea of interviewing me, I think that's a good thing. Either way, you know, if you have questions, you can call right here, 347-843-4859. I know there's this little rinky-dink wrestling show on, but who gives a crap about that, right? There's nothing interesting going on there. Guess what? The pay-per-views are what matters. They want you to watch those. Go, use your credit card, charge it to your bill, debit card, whatever it is, write a check, get the pay-per-view. That's what they want. Come here and listen to us for free tonight.
Because we're brilliant. We really are.
And watch us, too. I promise you, we'll have a better main event than they will. do you want to start this off? Do I want to start this? Do we want to accept this first phone call? Do we want to go there? Do we want to talk about evolving in the business, or do we
Let's
want to
talk
let you
about
roll
that.
with your interview?
No, let's do that later. Let's talk about evolving. Give me your thoughts
Okay,
on
this
what
is
you're
our
talking about.
timeline, just so you know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, no offense. I know my character. I guess I've always been and I guess I haven't always been the natural born leader, Johnny Z. I have evolved quite a bit. I've gone from the original ideal pitch to me to be on my first show as a character was as a wizard.
I didn't want to bring it up though. I was
The-
hoping you would.
Yes, the amazing. I think it was Zorth, the amazing wizard Zorthos
Mm.
from the planet Zoltan.
You were from
or
a
something
planet.
Like, yeah,
I
I was
didn't
from a planet, dude.
know that.
And this dude, legitimately, I will put this out there. This dude pitched this to me, Mr. Bishop, and yeah, I think with all intents and purposes, the time of making an ass out of me.
So that was ACW.
I truly do. That was
back in the day?
ACW days. That was back in the day. That was the beginning.
Right.
And I went around with my wife, and I was like, I'm gonna fancy this, and I'm gonna go around and look for gimmicks or whatever, and I'm gonna think in my head. And you know what it came down to is I was like, I could do this.
Yeah.
I really could. I'd be a wizard. Fuck it. That's right. But did you see that mature rating when you came on? That's a shoot. Mature. That's what we are here. We're grown-up people.
We
That's
are.
what this show's about.
And what you just said though, you said that even though that was that the first year of your career?
Oh, dude, that's the beginning.
so the
That's
very
first few
beginning,
months.
though-
Because things didn't. And I tell you this all the time. I've told you. I've
Mhm.
told Jermaine. I've told Randy, Nathan, other people that have come through the school and not made it, just people in general, that I missed out on the traditional upbringing in wrestling, if you
Right.
will, or growing up. And
Or the proper upbringing.
the proper upbringing. I honestly believe that, and that sucked. It caused me a lot of hardships in different ways. But this was part of the process per se, and this wasn't anything that wasn't proper. That's other issues I'm talking about.
Yeah, I
But this
understand.
is getting ready to go on this show. There had been issues throughout the period, and it was already a small period. It was going to be like 3 months that we would have had to train and get a guy like me ready. I had just gotten involved with wrestling there, and it was probably May,
Mhm.
and he's going to have this first show in August.
Okay.
And so I got LASIK eye surgery at the time. I take some time off. I'm told, hey, don't get in the ring, whatever. And I regret the decision. I made the comment, I made the decision not to be at training per se for I think it was 3 or 4 weeks, because I was like, if I was there, I felt like I was going to want to get involved. I legitimately felt like I would have got involved. And I'd been told not to do that, and it just spent a few $1,000s on my eyes. So, and man, I was a month in. I mean, we're talking a month.
Yeah.
And
I understand that.
okay, so that goes down anyway. So I come back, and all of a sudden, I'm gonna be the wizard. You know what I'm saying? The wonderful Wizard of Oz. And I got in a few weeks of bumping, nothing great, but you have to understand at this time I know nothing about wrestling because I haven't even been brought in the right way. I hear a commercial on the radio, we're looking for wrestlers, and I go down there and bam. You know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, we're doing a show in August, and you're going to be on it. And I'm like, whoa.
That's
So,
just how it works.
yeah, that's how it works, huh? They put out a commercial, and you show up, and they're like, you're a wrestler. And so they're like, you're going to do a few weeks of bumping. I had no idea what was involved.
If that commercial ran in this area, could you even?
Oh, I'd lose my shit.
Yeah.
And I learned now, and everyone's like, oh, so he just got in. No, I didn't just get in, because this whole scenario would lead to a year of me basically not being welcome, being on bad terms with the majority of the respected guys in this area, guys that people would listen to. And that's because I got brought in the wrong way. Didn't understand the hierarchy that goes in wrestling, or the respect, or the paying your dues, or how it's supposed to go. I didn't understand the brotherhood, the family, the inner workings, the gears. Like I said, commercial, hey, I'm John, boom, you're a wrestler. What? Okay. Now, so anyways, I start off and be the wizard, the amazing Wizard of Oz. And by the way, we have a big announcement tonight. We do. And
Oh,
we'll get
yeah.
to that.
Yeah.
Big deal to show off. But I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I'm not a wizard. I'm really not. I understand that I took a few weeks off from my eyes, and so I understand why this is happening, but we got to talk about this. And so Brandon was cordial, and he was willing to talk, and we did, and we turned it in to the professional Dr. John Zorthos.
Yes.
So before I ever stepped on a show, I had already been one thing and evolved to another. Thankfully, because if the promoter hadn't been willing to work with me, guess what? I wouldn't have been on a show, and I wouldn't even be a part of wrestling right now. And that's legitimately how it should work. That's a lesson that I would have learned, or that anyone should learn under any circumstances that you're brought into the business, is that in the end, you're going to do what the promoter wants, or you're not going to work there. And that's the reason we have so many shit feds right now.
Jermaine had trained to be heel the entire time, or for the majority of his training.
Yeah, but you can't cut my story off, man.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying
We're going to.
add that in there.
I will.
Put
That's
some salt and
way
pepper on
later, man. I'm in 2002 right now.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I get it. Jermaine, we love you, man. You abandoned us tonight, and he's still trying to bring you up. So, either way, now, that would lead to a felony assault on myself by another gentleman not to be named right now.
Cookie Man.
To which we did survive, but learned an important lesson that night that I was not liked. So it wasn't really a felony assault, people. It was part of the show. It was just a very stiff part of the show, and it could have been a felony assault, and you know who you are. I love you now. But no, I did learn a valuable lesson. Within a couple months of that, I would actually remove myself from wrestling, leaving ACW when it was in Wichita Falls. But upon leaving, that was probably my last bridge at that time, because, as I said, all those well-respected gentlemen already had issue with me, and so there wasn't going to be any business with them anywhere. And then whenever I upset Mr. Bishop, that led to an era of me not being a part of the business for a little while. Now, I would go on to make amends from this. I would return still the professional John Zorthos, having dropped the doctor bit.
For the best.
Yes, Mr. Bishop having worked with me and brought me back into ACW. Before that, I'd worked a few shows at Mid-South. I'd worked up in Tahlequah on a show for old Brandon Groom. And so I had started to make the assimilation back in.
What company?
I don't know, man. It wasn't BPPW.
Body Progression.
It wasn't
all these
that.
big
Hey,
guys.
man.
What?
What are you doing promoting other people, dude?
I
This
was
is a
just making-
proprietary product.
I was just pointing at the name.
You see the green behind us? Oh, you
No, I
don't,
don't.
because there's a cool graphic over it.
Yeah.
Either way, I come back. I'm now the professional John Zorthos. I've dropped the doctor bit. We're into the third evolution of my character. This is now the first time that it would be presented with me as being an owner heel character. I was already a heel. Hold on 1 second. Who do we have here?
Is that a caller?
Hello? Hello?
Okay, that didn't work.
Whoever that is, talk to me. Talk to me. I don't hear you. But I know you're there. Hold on.
What the hey?
Franklin, talk to me. Franklin? Hey, why aren't we hearing them?
Yeah, Wesley. We're not-
Hey, whoever's there on the line, keep talking. Ah, I know why. Never mind. Are you there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm here.
Man,
All
I
right.
got you. There we
Rob.
go. Hey, there we go. Wesley just hooked us up. Those of you that are with us, the hundreds viewing, check it out. It is right there on the back. This is the back of the shirt. Let me show you the front first. This right here, that right there, I'm a show first guy. You see that? That's the front of the shirt. The back says the Shootin Range, and then it's got our YouTube address and our Blog Talk Radio address. You can go to izwrestling.com right now, tomorrow, the next day, whenever. Or you can pick them up live here in the Impact Arena, those of you locally watching. They are the new Shootin Range t-shirts. There will be new merchandise coming out for the show. We need you to support the show. If you want it to be here, we're trying to get sponsors and advertisers and all that jazz. So be a part of the Shootin Range. You are slipping on the gun over there.
What's that?
You're supposed to be
'cause we're on
shooting
the-
everywhere.
We're on the what?
The Shootin Range. So I know
Probably the
everybody
whole
doesn't
machine,
want to hear
man.
the whole story about me. We'll get into that someday. And this guy's wanting to interview me. So long story short, you got the professional John Zorthos.
I think we have somebody on air too.
I know you're still here, right, Rob?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So at this point, though, I have opened IZW and had the first show. And there would be an 8-month gap, something like that, between the first and second show, about 7 months.
I was telling Rob. I loved him.
And during that time was when I did a lot of work at ACW, really tried to get tuned back up, if you will. Then got started back in at IZW January that year. And then there would be a progression over the next 2 or 3 years there of just being the professional John Zorthos that changed over into Johnny Z in 2007 while I was in Oklahoma City, thanks to the mind and whim of one Tyler Bateman.
I didn't know you didn't use that until 07.
I didn't. It was 07. He started referring to me as Z all the time, and then we were he's like Johnny Z, and I was like, man, I like that. Do you mind? And he's like, nah. And it was everybody started calling me that, and it's become so natural. It went on to the show. It helped my character evolve legitimately. The Johnny Z helped me start becoming this different guy because it wasn't John Zorthos. It was the Zorthos was gone. I'd never really liked it anyways. I had just tried to make it mine. I tried to make John Zorthos me, or you know what I'm saying? And Johnny Z just seemed to fit so much better, like a glove. And I seemed to mold right into the name. The name molded into me, and it is Z. It's just everybody Z. What's up, Johnny? What's up, Z? Everything has been flawless. And then Natural Born Leader I did come up with. And that guy slid on there, the Natural Born Leader, Johnny Z. I did the whole pose with the fist and the hand and the ring, and I guess that's about 2010, somewhere in there.
11.
And I think 10.
I want to say real quick. I would like to revisit something real fast. I did enjoy the gimmick when you were hypnotizing people because that was some funny stuff.
I believe it. I've always wanted to see
That is the Dr. John Zorthos days, and they were enjoyable and they
That's
were
correct.
funny. The first one I did was with him, and I ended up bashed in the face with the skull on a stick. And then
because that's normal.
yeah, and then I ended up taking the forklift, which is now known in other areas as the detonator, from another gentleman.
Oh.
I then also
know that.
hypnotized a young Jeffrey Parker, if he's ever been young,
I don't. Either way,
into,
I think he's still hypnotized.
into
though.
dancing to, was it Tom Jones? I forget what the song was, Sex Machine, I think.
Was it Sex Bomb? Sex
Yes,
Bomb.
Sex Bomb. And so we started the Sex Bomb, and it just never caught on.
I think Jeffrey Parker's still hypnotized though. Either way, he's never
But-
come out of it.
And that's just what I'm saying. So there were 3, 4, 5, 6 evolution, and now I'm really at a kind of an even different point. I've become the savior of pro wrestling and the smartest man in pro wrestling. And I started the founder, owner, and natural born leader. That was all part of that one. But it's just so. And I think everybody has to evolve like that. Like I've had to continue to learn over that whole time as my characters evolved. Obviously, my actions and my emulations and things that I've done in the ring have all changed. My characteristics, the miming, if you will, I think some people call it, that you do, the emotions to try to get across to the crowd and connect with them, what's going on in your head. I've been a face now for a couple years in there. I was a heel for 7 years, I think, and then went face for a couple, and then back
You and
heel.
I had one of the best spots with Sean, probably in ICW.
Yes,
history,
an
man.
awesome spot with me as a face and him as a heel. And so I've had to learn how to do things every which way. And the gentleman on the phone, Twitterless Rob, whom I love, and I want you to know my heart is still with you. Everyone's hearts out here are with you, Twitterless Rob.
You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
That's really all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd call in, big man.
He has been a lot of my story. He's been in and out of it. It's weird. He's there in the very beginning and through the early ACW days. Then he leaves and he comes in and he leaves and then he comes back and now he's been a part of it again for the past couple years. And I continue to learn from him almost every time I'm around him. If not, be it about wrestling, then be it about life. But he's always got an interesting story or lesson
And always
to tell.
trying to give you advice, Rob.
Always
take
trying to
his
give
time.
advice. You're an
Always
advice
take-
monger.
Yeah,
That's
and
what you
it's-
are. You're an advice
Well,
monger.
you can't find a lot of people that'll give you that much of their time to give you advice either. So
Yes.
that I really appreciate about Rob. He will take his time to help you out.
And like I said, I always learn from it. So, now that you're here, Rob, the discussion right now, I think you've heard, is about needing to evolve throughout your time in wrestling, or else I believe you will become stale, complacent, reach your peak, and just that's where you'll be, because nobody wants the same thing for year after year. I mean, Hulk Hogan, one of the biggest names of all time, became stale. I do believe that's
Right.
what everybody's opinion is.
Yeah.
And that's because even if it did last 20 years was too long.
Mm-hmm.
He needed to change up about
I don't
5
think
years
that's an
sooner.
opinion, man. That was a fact.
Okay. So, I mean, even for the best, some people have a longer span that they can be that same guy. But for the most part, you have to evolve and you have to change somewhat. And I think especially as a heel, maybe more so even than a face, just because they love faces. And if they fall in love with you a certain way, I mean, you can carry that for a while. Double D, like I said, just
Yeah.
recently I've seen this shift in him, but for a good 3 years now or 4 years, he's been able to just be the same guy. He
Mhm.
evolves slightly with his
You
message.
always have to evolve slightly to remain over.
So
Cena
maybe
has
that's
kept
not
the
a good.
same
Maybe
kind of
that's not a
thing.
good. I don't know, man. You are a Ricky Steamboat, D. I don't.
Me?
No, I said D.
Oh, he's a Ricky Steamboat.
He's our Ricky Steamboat.
I mean, he's
But you're
smart
getting
enough to
edgier, and
change
that's what I'm
somehow.
saying. That's what I'm saying. He is
Yeah.
changing, and he
Yeah.
just made a transition here earlier, and so I'm giving him credit for that.
It had totally different matches in the past 6 months or so than he's used to. So I'll give him props for that. He's in a different position of the card that he was in, and still getting it.
John O'Malley
110%.
evolves and changes a lot.
I was recently asked, and this is random, but I was recently asked about my favorite opponent that I've ever been in the ring with, and I said him. So, that guy, I give a lot of my respect to O'Malley because
So-
he really, I just respect him a lot.
Okay, remember. Hold on.
What?
No, nose.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a good spot, I think. Can you hear him there, Wes?
Hey, Wes.
Okay, so Rob, your opinion as far as evolving in the business goes, and here in a minute we'll let in our weekly guest, Franklin Lee. I'm trying to come up with a name for your phone call, Franklin, so don't think that I'm ignoring you. I would like to have you call in, we get a few minutes with you, and so I had an idea for a segment with you earlier, but even with the mature rating, you don't want to drive a point home.
But we do appreciate you, Franklin.
So yeah, because the name I had involved a cuss word, but Twitterless Rob, evolving in the wrestling business. Fill us in.
Man, it's the same as any other industry or any other walk of life. If you don't change, then you get stale. Just like you said, what's the old cliche? Moss doesn't grow on a rolling stone. And that's I believe that wholeheartedly. Like you mentioned, one guy, Hulk Hogan, who I think changed quite a bit and evolved, especially during the NWO days. If you think about another top guy, Steve Austin, he evolved and changed. From the time that he was at his peak and the time that he ended up hanging it up. The Undertaker, another top guy, that has been around for a long time. If you go down the line and look at the guys that have made money in the wrestling business, they're not the same person time in and time out. Even Ric Flair, although he kept elements of his gimmick, his shtick over the years, as he got older, he kind of tweaked it up a little bit, and he was more kind of wild, and like I always sticks out in my mind the Nitro where he takes off all his clothes and he's like dropping elbows on his Armani suit and stuff. he didn't always do that when he was the NWA champion. There's just, I mean, anybody you throw out there, I guarantee you we can talk about, hey, they evolved at one point or another, and I think it's necessary, because if you don't, then you get stale. People aren't going to want to, like, pay money to see you.
Yeah, you become irrelevant. I mean, you lose it.
Yep. But that's where I'm at on that.
Yeah, and I mean, just and good words from Rob. It makes total sense to me. I mean, I've made a personal huge evolution in my character in a lot of ways. Just becoming more, just instead of just being just me, having to actually create a character, and that's where people probably struggle with a lot, is actually just coming up with small changes and small changes to become. At the beginning of 2013, I was this person, but now I have this many more facets to me. And they're talking in WWE about more of a thought of not just being. So here's I want to get your thoughts on this, Rob. They don't want to say that people are straight up heels and people are straight up faces, but that people are more complex than that, and that they may not necessarily be 100% heel, 100% face. That they don't want to use that as much as just to say that people have more complications. What do you think about that?
Here's what I think about that. I mean, obviously, and this is, and people want to make like that's like a new thing for like the crowd to cheer a heel or something, or to boo a baby face. I mean, that's been going on since. I mean, you go back to Lou Thesz and them, and that stuff was going on. I promise you. At the end of the day, I think that little issue is a personal preference. Because I still, like if you look at the stories that you tell your kids, or like a really good book, are there anti-heroes? Sure, but usually most good stories, there's a good guy, there's a bad guy, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end.
Okay.
And that's really like so if they want to do that, that's fine. I think it's kind of I don't know, a weak way of saying that, hey, we're not going to push people, like as strong as we can. And sometimes that's a good
one
thing.
Way or the other way.
Right. Well, look at the Rock. Rocky Maivia, man, with his first gimmick, and he was like white meat babyface, and people at that time just hated that dude. I don't know if you were old enough to remember that. They just hated him, man. Like he'd come out there and like kissing babies or whatever, and they just boo, the Rocky stuck.
It was the hair, man. It was the hair.
It was the hair.
It was the hair.
But sometimes it doesn't work. So yeah, you gotta. That's where I think the evolution comes in. Like if a gimmick's not working and the way you planned, then you gotta look at either changing it or something's gotta be. Something's gotta change. Like you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. You have to change something to get that different result.
And it's been a privilege for me to hang around people that know that evolution, who know how to do that to their character. And that's how I've learned a lot for myself, because I did get stale for a while with what I was doing, and I recognized that in my past. And I had to get kind of kicked in the ass to realize that you got to put more. I mean, not that I wasn't putting the effort into it, but that I wasn't realizing that you've got to change. You got to put more out there. There's so much to be said about turning your personal personality to 11, but there's also a lot to be said about just coming up with different things, that are outside of your personal characteristics. And
well, that's easy to say. You know what I mean about the whole, and I believe it firmly. I believe like the best gimmicks or the best, wrestling personalities are like an extension of that person. But it's not. It's easier to say that than it is to actually, do it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's different people. It's hard to find that niche. To find like what part of my personality am I turning up to 11? They're like you said, people are complicated, and you have to be able to find that. But I want to make a connection real quick. John was talking about being brought in the wrong way and stuff earlier. And I think there's a connection here, because a lot of guys they're like, oh man, I want to be a wrestler, and I've seen it, man. Cats come into wrestling school and they already have their gimmick and they already know. So they, instead of learning training and learning the business and like, oh, this is what works and this is what works. They already have this idea of what they want to do before they ever step in a ring. And a lot of times that idea, man, is just not going to go, you know, because these are guys that are a lot of them are like, you know, everybody wants to be a badass, but then you know if you look at a dude and he's 5'5" or 5'6" and 130 pounds and with a real baby face, you know nobody's going to be intimidated by him. So maybe he needs to look at something, doing something different. And that's just a little a generic example, but I think you know I've seen quite a bit of that over the years, and so I think there's a connection there. You know, like about being brought in the right way and you know, because I'm telling you, man, if I was running a wrestling school and some cat came in the first day with a gimmick, I mean, I'd be like, man, you need to get out of here with that.
Yeah.
You know, keep that in the back of your head for when you actually learn something.
Let me
And
tell
then
you.
we'll talk about it.
Let me tell you about everyone wanting to be a badass. And this is a shoot. I watched a man build a pretty good resume, pretty good following, I'm sorry, get a pretty good amount of respect based on being a pretty good worker without ever having to be a badass, and took some time off from the business and came back with that everybody wants to be a badass attitude, and it killed the rest of his career. Nobody ever felt the same about him again.
You're talking about a local guy.
I'm just talking about a guy.
And okay, just a guy
Yeah.
on the wrestling scene of some kind.
On the wrestling scene. It might have been local. It is
Just
the
an
shooting
an
range.
independent.
It is the shooting range.
Independent guy. we
Yeah,
can
but
say that.
I don't know if
Okay.
we'll go there. Twitterless Rob, I don't even know if you know who I'm talking about.
Not right offhand, I don't. I'm sure if you said throw a name out there, I'd know.
Oh, I'm sure if I did too, you'd know, but I'll stay
Cookie
away.
Man.
His deal's the Cookie Man. Okay. You can't laugh. If you're gonna laugh, you gotta pull it
I
away.
know.
You gotta
Okay,
pull
I
it
know.
away.
It's
You gotta
Rob.
pull it away. You're gonna
Rob's
kill us.
reaction was funny.
So now you had something you wanted to do, George. We've talked about evolution. It's pretty simple. Understand this: if you think you can just be the same guy forever, you're probably not gonna do much.
No.
If you want to stay relevant, then you need to understand evolving and changing. I mean, if it works for a while, it's going to work for a while. But just remember, it's not going to do what you want it to do forever. They can say whatever they want about Cena. I get it's a two-edged sword on the WWE level. You got this guy that's still – and here's the thing, is the fact that John Cena is still the number one guy a praise put upon him or an indictment put upon the rest of the roster? There's my question, because here's the thing. John Cena, great talent. I can't question it. The motherfucker's made millions of dollars.
Since when?
Millions of dollars. So the dude is talented beyond belief. But the question, or the statement is there. It's probably fact now with him as it was with Hogan in the day. He is not near as popular now as he was 5 years ago. He's hit a wall. People want to see someone else on top, but here's the sad part of it. The people that they want to see on top, that they try to put on top, still aren't better than Cena. They still don't draw better numbers than a guy who's fallen off. I mean, Cena's numbers are probably half of what they used to be. If you look at the business and the way he affects it, he changes the tone of the crowd and the way they react, but not necessarily the numbers so much anymore. And so that's why I say, is that a praise to be cast? At one point, it was a praise on John Cena. You're the number one guy. At this point, is that a praise or is that an indictment on the roster? Is it sad that no one else on the roster has been able to catch on in some way to even achieve the success that Cena had previously achieved? And I mean, that's the deal. That's the sad state of the business right now. I gripe about locals and indies and all that. But in the end, and I'm sure we'll get Twitterless Rob back. I'm sorry we lost you, but I gripe about local shows and indie shows and such all the time. But I mean, the one thing I will be honest about is just the state of the business in general is nowhere near what it was 5 years ago, much less 10 years ago, much less 15 years ago. So the state of the business overall is just, it has not evolved the way it should. And if you want to look at it that way, the fact that the business itself has not evolved the way it should have is an indictment on everyone involved with it at every level.
Yeah, fans and people in the business.
Yeah, you got to keep the voice up, man.
I'm keeping the voice.
I
up,
know,
man.
but it is. It's fans and everyone in the business. It's Vince. It's the guy under Vince. It's the girl under him.
Oh!
The guy under her. You got to quit being that loud, man. You have to remember the
Oh
board.
man, I'm working on it.
Yeah, if you just pull out. That's all you got to do. Just pull out.
That's
if
what
you're
my
gonna
dad
yell.
told me when I was young.
Yeah, and you're still not a dad. So see, he obviously taught
yeah.
you something good. But I was talking about evolving. Oh, the business hasn't evolved.
Yeah.
You know, and we haven't evolved enough here, or else I think we would. We have achieved great success at our company, but we all want more.
Yeah.
And so that ties directly into what we do together.
But that's not to say that we haven't evolved as a whole.
Oh, as a whole, we've evolved greatly.
Yeah,
you look at
a ton.
You can just look at our 10 years from 2004 to what's going to go down in 2014 in March. The fact that we will broadcast our 10-year anniversary, having started in the National Guard Armory over here on Cash Road, with quite the show, which will be released as part of our Best of series.
It will
on DVD.
Perfect.
We're fixing to do a Decade of Impact. It's going to be released alongside Coronation, A Decade of Impact. It's going to be the first 10 years of IZW. It's going to be the best of, the story of, and where we're at that point, and where we hopefully plan to go in the next 10 years. But, you know, we started over there in the Armory, probably about, 300 people, I'd say, for the first show. Got a good turnout, but it was just, it was just, you'll see. It's quite the show. Some good talent, myself and Aaron and Miguel having booked the first show. I don't think
Miguel, huh?
Yeah, I don't think it was bad booking a tournament for the heavyweight strap, And so the ideals that were there, I think, were fine. All the execution, I don't know if it was perfect, but I'm simply saying you go from that and you go over our years and watch when we put out this DVD Blu-ray set. You're gonna see it's just 10 years later we're in our own arena. Which has its own locker room production area, all that labyrinth back here.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a whole nother arena.
Right.
And that arena itself has evolved from the time it came. First, we had the Impact Arena in the city that was in the school. Then we got our building here. So now here we are at 10 years. And it's just evolved recently.
Yeah.
The cameras itself have moved. We now have live monitors in the front. The concession area is now separated from the main arena. So if you leave the main arena to go to concessions, you're separated from the show, but you now have 32-inch flat panel HD TVs out there showing the show live. There's also
I hear a lot of work
TV
went into all that too.
It was a lot of work. A guy crawled through the ceiling.
I don't know who that was.
Some of his vomit is still up there.
I did vomit.
But I thought you didn't know who he was.
Somebody vomited.
Either way, there are live monitors up front now. The lighting continues to change. Some things going on there with the electrical work. There were some curtains put into place and things. So the lighting and the look and depth and feel of the arena has changed. Camera positioning has moved. There's going to be some logos put on the wall. Some bleachers going in. Looking at some guardrails and things, maybe moving the commentators' booth. So things continue to evolve. We continue to change as a company. Our performers continue to change. We've had new performers in recently, newcomers this year in Angel Camacho and Drake Gallows, namely Harrison Stone here recently, Casey Wolves. We've had some talent come and show up this year, and the Red Ranger. And just an influx, of life and spirit. And it continues to happen here. We love it. We appreciate it.
Yes,
all of you, thank you for your contributions. Before we move on, let's get in our weekly segment with Franklin Lee. And
Perfect.
You have a little game of word association you want to do and a few questions for me.
Yeah, I just have some questions for you, but let's see what Franklin's got. He's been on hold for a while. Thank you, Franklin.
Not a problem there, Jordan, and I just wanted to say I'm glad to hear that your arm is getting better, and thank you very much for sharing your story about the hip injury and how you've battled back to get to where you are today.
Oh, right on, sir. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I've still got the scar for sure. We got some great video in the background, but yeah, man, I just it's Anyway, yeah, no, that was a story from a while ago. Didn't know if a lot of people had known about that, and it's fun to tell. But how are you doing, sir? What do you have on your mind today?
Well, I just wanted to say that even though I've never been a wrestler, I can actually relate to where you are coming from in regards to injuries on the job because in January of 2010, I sustained what I thought at that time was my very first stroke while I was going through the front door of my place of employment.
Right.
But but after a battery of tests conducted by the neurologist on duty at the hospital, it turned out it was at least my third. And
Wow.
the significance, yeah, and the significance of that being is that it put me in the hospital for 3 days, put me on strict bed rest at home for over a week, and then it took me just a little over 4 months of rehab Monday through Friday before the doctors would give me a clearance to go back to work full time again. And even though I've sustained some short term memory loss as a result of said stroke, you know, I do what I do, which is nursing, because I love what I do. And if I didn't love what I do, I wouldn't have battled back from said stroke to get back to where I am, which is back to work as a nurse.
All right, man, and and that's great to hear. People helping people, that's always good. Yeah, and it's one of those questions though that when we get people that don't really watch the shows and they see us and they think that we don't get hurt or we don't ever go through pain. It's always interesting when you ask a wrestler who's been around, and I've only essentially been in for 4.5 years, but we've all got. Generally, if you wrestle on a regular basis, you have that litany of injuries that you've been through, broken hip, broken arm, burst eardrum in a match, all kinds of crazy things. It's a fantastic picture in the background. But John and John here's got he had quite a layoff for a while. What was that about? We're talking about injuries and everything like that. Work related injuries is what we're talking about.
I had the knee surgery, which I had a little bit of time off
I
from.
can't hear you.
Oh, I had the knee surgery from a little bit of time off. Well, not from time off. Had to take time off because of the knee surgery. I will admit that I am superhuman, and I was recovered from the surgery before I came back. I just chose to take the time off and be alone with myself for a while. And during this period, I recovered nicely. But now, bam! What is that? Ice cream? I don't want that. Man, bam. Okay, so um, are we just talking? We're just talking about injury and recovering in general, because I recovered from a knee injury before that without surgery, and it was quite brutal. I need to concentrate on the show, Wesley. We gotta get this picture off. Franklin.
Yeah, I'm still here, John.
Okay, I was having trouble hearing you. Is there a reason why?
No, I was just waiting for you to finish your sentence there, John.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a little something called courtesy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, to all the marks out there who think that wrestlers don't get hurt, I got news for you guys. Regardless of whether you're a wrestler, nurse, or whatever profession you're in, I got news for you guys. The physics are real, the injuries are real, and the gravity is real. And no matter how much you try to rehearse it, something will go amiss sooner or later. That's just all there is to it. That's just life.
I guess that's just the numbers. Man, where did Rob just drop on us? Did he just decide to be done with us and never call back? I do want to ask that. The injuries are real. Gravity is real. It does hurt quite a bit. Um, We are. We're trying to. I know. I turned him down. I'm sorry. Can you hear him now? Franklin is still with us. Oh, Franklin or Rob?
Yeah, I'm still here, John.
Rob. Okay, Franklin's there too. All right, they're both here.
I was muted the whole time, man. This is what happens. Hey, man. I guess just because you're a vet, you get certain privileges around here.
Like knowing how to run the board. What else on your mind, Franklin?
I was just needing to see if you guys had any other additional injury stories that you could share with the fans out there to let them know, hey, the endings may be predetermined, but the risk of injury is still out there. And was wanting to see if you guys had any other injury stories you could share with the fans out there.
I'm sure we both have. You have a few?
We do, but we do only have so much time as well. And we do still have word association and the interview. I do want to say a big shout out to my man Miguel, 7, the captain. Of course you're not Chris Benoit from IZW history, man. Chris Benoit did some pretty horrible stuff. I'm just saying. You're always cool with me.
To move on to the next part, though, real quick, I guess I'll say, broken eardrum, almost broke my neck a few months ago. That was scary. I also hear that it got played at the end of one of these Shootin Range shows at one point.
What was that?
Me almost breaking my neck.
It did. You got to speak a little louder. But it did. I find your pain amusing.
I'm gonna. Okay.
I find most of it. Franklin.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for calling in again, sir. We appreciate having you with us every week. We're going to let you go so that we can play some word association and go on our interview segment. We hope to hear from you next week.
You're the man.
Not a problem, and Happy New Year to all of you.
You too.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year to you, too.
Got to come up with a name for that segment.
A name for I'm telling you, I had a good name. I don't know that we can.
Flirting with Franklin.
What'd you call it? Flirting with Franklin. We got that idea. And then what was that, Wesley? Oh, Wesley.
He said forcible Franklin.
Oh, forcible Franklin. Okay.
Okay. Did you want to move on? I have kind of a combined word association / just basic interview. Random questions I want to ask you if that's all right.
Okay.
We are here on. What are we on?
We're on the Shootin Range.
I gotta stop, man. This recoil is something else.
It's gonna hurt that shoulder.
Oh yeah, man.
Is that which shoulder's the bad shoulder?
This one, the one with the.
Oh,
yeah. See,
God.
Awful, right?
Oh.
Yeah. Anybody that thinks that what we do doesn't hurt, come check out this scar. Preferably women.
Ooh.
What's up, women? Okay. All right. Let me. I'll just kind of mix it up. I mean, nothing.
Hold on, real quick. Hold up. Oh yeah. I don't know. I love that song. It was written by one Wesley Bradfield. I may make that just a random segment on the show from now on.
Sure. Okay, I'm just gonna go with some random stuff.
Okay. How random?
I mean, really, I've just been coming up with stuff since before we started the show.
Okay.
Okay, so word association, stories, just whatever you want to give me here. First one is somebody you actually mentioned earlier, Tyler Bateman.
Word association?
Or just, a little bit about him. Good stories. I know, I've heard a little bit. I wasn't around to see some Tyler Bateman. Personal thoughts.
Word association would be solid dude, weird dude,
yeah.
troubled dude,
Okay.
talented dude.
I have been compared to a mini Tyler Bateman before.
Well, Tyler Bateman was a lot hotter than you.
Everybody. Some people.
And he was very large. So y'all do have that in common.
Hey,
The anaconda was true with him too.
let's not talk about that.
Now, Tyler Bateman was an awesome individual. I have him to thank for this scar on my nose.
Right.
He introduced my face to a table that didn't break with both of his feet to the back of my head.
Jeez. Can I ask what happened in that spot? It is on YouTube, I believe, if I'm not
what
mistaken.
happened in that spot was that was 2007, and I was dumb.
Okay.
So that's going on almost 7 years ago.
Not what I was going for.
Yeah,
but
if I had done that differently to this day, I'm just saying, one, I would have made sure to turn my face.
yes.
Timing and setup and hugging the table would have been mandatory, which, I made it a point to say I was going to hug the table in that spot, but I did not hug the table. And my face paid for it. My nose actually paid for it.
Oh, horrible.
It was spontaneous combustion. This is not a cut. This is so much instant pressure that my nose just exploded open.
Oh.
Like a leader does, though.
Would you
I
say
finished
that?
the match.
Would you say that was your most familiar?
Do it.
Okay.
What? I think we just got
w-
booyah.
Would
It's
that
called
be,
Johnny Z breaks his nose, and something on that spelt wrong.
I think so. Yeah.
It's on the
Wesley.
old tube.
Would you say that one was your most painful in-match injury?
No,
No. With a
because I
knee?
couldn't feel my face after it happened.
Oh, adrenaline and all that. Yeah.
So it was like, pow, and it was like, I know that people can see the inside of my face right now.
I got hit by a
but-
car when I was a kid and I didn't feel it.
So, yeah. Why'd we go there? Oh, that was word associations.
Okay.
And about Tyler Bateman,
Yeah.
just I loved him, man.
I heard he
really
was-
did.
I heard he was cool,
again.
dude.
All the words I said are true, and loyal dude. So yeah,
Good.
lots of things.
How do you feel about bumps in battle royals?
I hate bumps in battle royals.
And
You know why? No. You know why I hate bumps in battle royals?
Why?
Because people are stupid if they do bumps in battle royals. Who's gonna bump in a battle royal? There's like at least 20 people in any battle royal. At
You want me to
least
tell
20.
you who does
And
it?
so if there's 20 people in a battle royal, don't tell me about who does bumps in battle royals, because if you tell me about who does bumps in battle royals, then I'll hate people that do bumps in battle royals, because I hate bumps in battle royals.
Well-
Because when people bump in battle royals, people like Jermaine who have brankles get their brankles broken,
Unsafe.
and so
It's
just bumps in
pointless.
battle royals are horrible. There are 20 or more people in that fucking ring. There is not an open canvas for which you to bump on. So keep your ass on your feet and try
Yeah.
to tell the story of a battle royal, because I hate bumps in battle royals. And that was your first Johnny Z hates.
There you
So-
go. Yeah, I hate him too. I had to not let a dude suplex me this year. I did after somebody was told last year not to bump in a battle royal. Once they did some crazy bump for no reason, I did go try to beat them up a little bit. Next one. Okay. Who would you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who would you rather get with? Luna Vachon or Mae Young?
Mae Young.
Meg Ryan or Jack Nicholson?
Pass.
Okay. Why have you not wrestled since War Games '94?
I haven't had to. CGI was invented in 95.
Perfect answer. Okay, this is a good one. I am genuinely curious as to what you and people, you can still call in. If you know our history, Impact Inc. has gone across numerous federations.
As has Impact Elite has been created from Impact Inc.
Yes. I would like to ask you personally, and if anybody that knows their history would like to call in and say, this is a good question. What is your personal full incarnation, your full favorite incarnation of Impact Inc.?
The one we have right now.
Legitimately.
I don't even have to think about it.
Okay.
Man, I've done a lot of stuff with the Impact Inc. name, and now Impact Elite, which is, let's not be stupid, pretty much the same thing. right now, it's the same exact group at both places.
Yes.
It's simply it made sense to leave it as Impact Elite here. I guess it's pretty cool, I guess. But it's just the same two groups doing, but they do have different attitudes, legitimately.
Oh,
So in a sense,
yeah.
I mean, they do have the elite attitude here, and then they still have the kick-ass chip on their shoulder
We own this place
attitude.
yeah.
We own this place attitude at Mid-South. So maybe it is appropriate. But just in general, no offense, but I mean, there's been so many years more to learn over this. And if you look at this incarnation, you've been wrestling weekly since 2010.
Yes.
Randy has been wrestling weekly since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine has been wrestling weekly since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin has been wrestling weekly since 2008. Or 2009, I'm sorry. 2009.
So.
He's been wrestling before that, but I'm just talking about weekly.
Yes.
Erica and Dee became a part of the show in 2009. I've been here weekly ever since. And Rob came back, and so we'll just go with that. And so
Rob, gotta have Rob.
Yeah, but because he's helped us all grow.
Of course,
he's been a big piece of things behind the scenes.
Yes.
And we've all grown from that. But if you notice, all those people I talked about have been working weekly for what is going on a minimum of 5 years now.
And not just weekly, as in we go to this place,
Oh yeah, we
once
do
every
here
while, and then this
every
one.
week.
We're
we
not
do
booked every
Mid-South
weekend on
every other
opposite
week.
shows, and even when other people from other places may hate on that aspect and say that you guys never go anywhere or anything, which is a totally separate conversation.
While you're taking weeks off and sitting at the house with your baby mama, we're down here at the arena putting in work 52 weeks a year.
Telling stories that extend across that time, not telling one shots every few months.
And that's the shoot. So that's a story for a different day. But I thoroughly enjoy this because everyone in this group has so much more experience and so much more weekly training and knowledge of how to continue. I mean, we've had to do things with this group week in, week out, and that's after everything we had learned before.
And a lot of it sprung on us.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
do this right now, and that teaches you a lot. It's being in, you don't know what it's like to be in a firefight till you're in a war. And when you get thrown on the front lines, hey, this is what you're doing. Go do it right now. You know what I mean?
And everyone's characters. My character's at a point it's never been at before. You and Jermaine have found a nice groove with your character. The convict is just who the convict is.
Yeah.
Kevin Morgan is going through an evolving period right now.
And becoming a very good ringleader.
A general.
Which is something we'd like to talk about.
Yeah, a quote that we wanted to read from a man by the name of Big G's, and that'll come out.
Black G's.
Black G's,
Well,
I'm sorry. He's big too, Big Black
I know you
G's.
weren't trying to be racist, so I just had to, that's his birth name.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to get to that now? We want to wait?
No, you asked me a question, so I answered it.
Okay,
this
let's
one
keep
right
going
now.
with that.
And this one's still going. That's the other part to it. It's like, when does it end?
I currently enjoy this incarnation very, very much. And this, to me, has been a big evolution in my character, where instead of focusing so much on wrestling and being, so pissed off if I wasn't wrestling a match, the majority of mine and Jermaine's highlights from the year are through vignettes and things that we came up with and that we all came up with, the coming up with characters, straight characterization, not having to step into the ring to create this 5 minutes that's going to last throughout the rest of a company's history, or attempting that at every time, even when they say, hey, this is what you're doing now. I very much enjoy this. There's other incarnations I have, but we have good chemistry right now for sure. Okay, let me, what else was I going to throw at you? Just random, I mean, you could talk about these guys all day. Jermaine and I were talking about Roddy Piper the other day. Overrated. I mean, but do you honestly not think that him versus Hogan in '96 and all those years was some of the best work ever done match-wise? Okay. How do you...
Dude, you got to be here every week.
Okay.
Jermaine, I know you're watching, man. We just picked up a third guy.
Hey,
we'll figure it out.
Okay, so again, you could talk about this guy forever, but Ric Flair as a whole. Was he having,
Crybaby.
Was he having the best matches
Failure.
Okay. Cool. I recently sat through a 45-minute 2 out of 3 falls with him and Kerry Von Erich, and I didn't. Oh man.
You just about killed yourself.
Just about did something
well, dude,
to
I mean,
myself.
if you've seen one of his matches, you've seen them all.
True.
If I ever agreed with the Bret Hart statement, it was that one and the other one about
With Bret Hart?
if you're a success, you're a lonely guy. No, Bret Hart forever said one match with Flair was like 10 matches with Flair.
Okay, yeah.
Or 10 matches with Flair was like one match with Flair. They're all the same.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just call him a failure because, I mean, god dang, look at the dude's life. I mean, how can you be one of the greatest legends of all time and have made the money that you've made and then just be where you're at right now? Just a shell of a person. I mean, I'm sorry. There's no excuse for that. That makes you a failure just on so many levels.
I read like a 35-page article about the man's personal life. That was very crazy. Leading from him into somebody we just mentioned, Kerry Von Erich. And before that, I will say that I've gained some knowledge being from Lawton. I've gotten to hear the stories about people coming in, the territory days when people were coming through Lawton, of all places. And the cops would always get pissed when wrestling would come to town because the Von Erichs and everybody else would always go to the bar down on the street over here and always try to fight everybody. So the cops were always pissed when wrestling came in town.
It was like that.
Thoughts on Kerry Von Erich?
Super talented individual that I think was perfect for his time. And I think that for any time, I think if he'd come up in any era, he was talented enough that he would have learned how to succeed in that era. He didn't have to talk a bunch in his era, but he talked well enough. And then he had the body. And, I mean, he was the perfect professional wrestler as far as
out of that
look
family.
and size and the way. Yeah, man. I mean, just in the business at that time, he was
over.
He was like a statue.
That,
I mean,
that match
I'm saying
I
he was
watched.
what everyone thought a professional wrestler should be. Long hair, beautiful body, could hit every
Athletic.
move in the ring, could work a crowd. Dude, the only thing he probably lacked at all was some of the mic skills. And again, like I said, man, you were just the superstar in that day, and really any day. People fail to grasp that, how important talking is and how important being good on the mic is, because every top guy of every era could tear it up on a mic, and you better get used to that. Everyone that tries to ignore it, understand Daniel Bryan and CM Punk's best days have been the better they've gotten on the mic.
Doesn't matter how big you are. You've got people that have been in the exact same spot. Khali can't do a thing. He's never going to reach a certain point. They tried to make
you
it.
You just compared Punk to Khali.
No, I'm saying
go somewhere else.
I'm saying
how about,
mic work.
How about
if
Curtis
you can't.
Axel?
And
I
that's
mean,
true.
Just the
Okay,
point I'm
because
saying, he's got no shot.
He's legitimately. I mean, like I was thinking size-wise, no matter how big you are. But
He's
even
like Mason Ryan.
Mason Ryan. Okay, that's
no mic
that's
skills,
a good call.
No shot.
Okay, let me. This is a question that was inspired by.
We got 16 minutes and 34 seconds.
Okay, this is a good question. I think. We can do this. Okay, most painful common wrestling move. Just a common. You learn it near the beginning of training when you're first learning moves. What's the most painful one?
Splash in the corner.
Really?
Motherfuckers don't know how to do it, man.
Well, that's I mean, that is true. Let me splash you in the corner.
Yeah, man.
It came from
Back bumping's not all that painful, man. You get to rolling in a match or something, man. You don't. I'll
Depends
take a
on who you're
back
in
body
there with.
drop and be like 14 feet in the air.
I know.
And when I hit, man, I'm just like, did that look good?
That's true. And that one, depending on where you are in the ring. But I was watching a video where Edge was talking about just your common bumps and bruises and put over how much people don't realize how much a body slam hurts. And that one, I would throw that one up there, depending, on the energy in the match that you have.
Anything where you're driven into the ring.
Yeah, and because you have some people who will just body slam you and some people who drive you into the mat.
But body slams have never really hurt me. You're just asking me honestly.
Well, no, and that's cool. And we feel something a little different because I'm a lot smaller and don't have
fat.
as much body mass. That's not what I meant.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, nah, man.
More padding over here.
All right, well, okay. Anyway, so that's one of those ones for me. And another quick shoot. If you don't
see, that's what he
that?
said. He said, but Kerry didn't have the brain, sadly, or one of his feet. But
that's
after a
CM
certain
Burnham
point.
watching.
Mis- oh yeah, you are supposed to have a segment this week.
Wow.
The facts with the fact man.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Just real quick, wanted to say, if you ever body
Rob,
slam
are you
somebody,
back? Twitterless Rob.
I'm not, baby.
Where did you go?
Man, I went and had dinner with the wife.
You could have told her, brother.
you could ate dinner on the phone with us.
I didn't want to interrupt the show, man.
Okay, we're at 14 and a half minutes. Where were you at now?
I just
Oh,
real
and
quick.
Burnham, you were all right. And that's kind of the same thing. No brains. He couldn't talk just well enough. But I think he would have learned enough. They would have pulled the Jeff Hardy with him.
Tuck the opponent's head when you body slam people, or else you're a dumbass. Stop being unsafe. I see it way too often.
Is
Yeah.
that all you were trying to get out?
That really
Good.
was.
He say it again.
Always tuck your opponent's head
Say
when
it
you
like
body.
you did before.
Always tuck your opponent's head when you body slam him, because it's unsafe as hell. Stop doing that. I've had it done to me. People do it way too often on the indie scene. And if you ever break somebody's neck off some bullshit like that, and that's the only time I've used that language on this show so far, it pisses me off. Stop doing that.
Burnham,
It's
you have-
basic training.
you have sometime in the next 8 minutes to call in and deliver this week's fact with the fact man, Chris Burnham, sponsored by Oklafan.com. Uh-oh, here we go. All right, here it is. Is this Chris Burnham?
This is indeed the fact man.
Okay, this is this week's fact with the fact man, Chris Burnham, sponsored by Oklafan.com.
Go!
Well, this week's fact is pretty timely because as we approach the revelation of this year's top 50,
Revelation.
I thought it was interesting. Revelation, yes. On January 1st, new year, new revelation. I tabulated up and kept tabs as I do all year. And this year, there were 235 wrestling characters, that's the best way to say it, that participated in at least one match in Oklahoma in 2013.
200. Now, is that 235 individual performers or 235 characters?
Yeah, characters probably.
235 characters.
Okay, still, that is 235 characters. That is almost a character per day, and that is with.
Let me ask you, does that include the E?
Yeah, that would. I
Does
believe
that
he's
include WWE? I assume.
No, that is just independent.
just
Okay, so
independent.
just independent, and that's got to be something in the realm of 120 shows, I'm guessing, max.
Right.
Okay.
I'll borrow a line that because I was given this information earlier today by a mutual friend, and I have to borrow a line, and I'm not going to mention names, but yeah, I think that's about 180 too many.
And that's
I think it was Mike Isles who said. I think Mike Isles said it was 235 characters, but only 35 of them actually trained.
Oh.
Did you put this fact up and I didn't see it or something?
It's on the comment of my Facebook status I made last night where
About
I
the 87
said
Twitter.
87 down to 50. Yeah, it's somewhere down pretty far towards the bottom, or at least this afternoon when I last
80,
checked.
87 down to 50 what?
The top 50, doofus.
87
Yeah,
people that
I
could have been in
down
the top
to
50. I don't even know what
Yeah.
Oklafan is. Man.
Yeah, I know you don't.
He
doesn't know
knows
what you
what
are
it
either.
is. Ooh.
What'd he say?
Nothing, man. Nothing. He
You
said
watch it,
he
though.
said you better check that top 50 closely.
Hey man, it's not my fault the Land Before Time 2 was filmed in your beard.
Yeah, that's.
I thought it was Horton Hears a Who.
Horton Hears a Who. Either way, legit, I will be amused to be I hope I'm low on the top 50.
You won't be low. I'm not, dude.
If win-loss record is anything to do with it.
You didn't listen to last week's show, did you?
Of course I did.
We discussed. No, you didn't. We discussed all this, man.
The top 50 and all that?
Yeah, we discussed all this. We had Mr. Burnham on. That's where we came up with this week's fact with the fact man.
I do like that segment. That is a good
You said
segment,
I am
Burnham.
louder,
I
I
do hope you
need to be
keep doing
louder.
that.
Okay, sorry. How's that? That better? Okay, so anything else you'd like to share with us, Mr. Burnham?
No, I just got back, much like Twitterless Rob, I just got back from dinner, so I hadn't seen the first hour of the show. I just tuned in right when Jordan started the Q&A session, so I didn't know what you guys have been talking about so far before that.
I'm going to see if I can entice you into something. This will spark your Oakla fan page probably, or the closed pages that we're a part of. Right now, you can list off the top 10. No, hear me out. Out of order. Out of order. Not in order. Just randomly read the top 10 names on the list in any order, and then everyone has the next 2 days to guess their own order and what the actual order of the top 10 is. He who shall guess the right list, I will give $50 to.
Burnham, you can't turn that down, man.
Wow, that is actually pretty enticing as I'm staring at the finalized top 50 right now.
Oh, man.
This could be exclusive.
Okay, I will take you up on this offer. As much as I like to keep this under wraps, if it's just the top 10, I will take this offer and I will deliver them to you, if I can do so, in alphabetical order.
Yeah,
alphabetical.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no hope of messing this up. All right. So the following 10 wrestlers are your top 10 for 2013.
First off,
in some
this is
order.
breaking news. Breaking news here on the Shootin' Range with Johnny Z, Jordan Jacobs, Twitterless Rob, and the Fact Man, Chris Burnham.
And Wesley Bradfield.
And Wesley Bradfield is here, but he likes to remain anonymous. Here we go. In alphabetical order. Can I get a drum roll, Twitterless
Alphabetical
Rob?
order. All right, alphabetical order. Following people: Canadian Red Devil, John Cross, Double D, Drake Gallows.
Okay, hold on. Double D, Drake Gallows.
Okay.
Robert Lee.
Robert
Okay.
Lee.
Kevin Morgan.
Kevin
Okay.
Morgan.
Tim Rockwell.
Okay.
Bobby Starr.
Huh?
All right.
He's worked a bit.
Damon Windsor.
Woo!
All right.
And Johnny Z.
That's cool.
Hey,
That's an
that's
improvement.
not how you pronounce Jordan Jacobs. Because even in alphabetical order, I would have been number one.
What? You fucking dumbass. I'm sorry. Wow.
Breaking news,
Okay,
Burnham. Thank you.
so here it is. Now, first off, Burnham, I have to trust you not to tell anyone the right top 10. Or Mike, does anyone else know the top 10 but you?
Me, Isles, and the third person who shall remain nameless.
Okay, so those three of you,
Cookie Man.
I beg of you,
Yes.
just so that
No,
all of us, because I don't know the results right now, but the three of you do, Mr. Burnham, Mr. Isles, and he who shall remain nameless, they know the finalized top 50. They know this top 10 in the correct order. I will legitimately, if they will give me their words, that they will not share the order of the top 10 with anyone, then I give my word. You start posting it in the next 2 days because this comes out, this comes out tomorrow night at midnight, correct?
Tomorrow night at midnight, yes.
Okay, so we've got approximately 27 hours, 26 and a half hours, people, for you to post to our closed page, which is Kayfabe, or our closed page, the Shootin' Range. If you're a member of it, and that's over 100 people on each group, you now have the opportunity to post your order, or you can go to oaklafan.com on the Facebook, which is an open page, and you can post your best guesses there. Whoever is the first person, the first one, which every post on there has a time, so we'll know who did it first. I will give that person $50 cash money.
Nice. Did you
$50
say,
from the Shootin' Range. That's our Christmas present to the wrestling world.
you said tomorrow night at midnight, Burnham?
Tomorrow night at midnight.
That's
yes.
a weird.
On www.oaklafan.com.
Yeah.
It gets released right there every year. It
That's
has for the past
I was
9
just going to say
years.
that's a weird
8
time
years
to
it's been.
debut it because that's when Burnham and I were supposed to have a knitting date. So, I just.
So everyone, in alphabetical order, we've got Canadian Red Devil, John Cross, Double D, Drake Gallows, Robert Lee, Kevin Morgan, Tim Rockwell, Bobby Starr, Damon Windsor,
And Cookie Man, everybody. That's our top 10.
Johnny Z. Now, that's the deal. Chris Burnham has been kind enough to give us some breaking news here. We now know who the top 10 wrestlers are in the state of Oklahoma for the year of 2013.
According to Oklafan.com.
In the opinion of the writers and the contributors at Oklafan.com. And so now you have your opportunity to give us your opinion and give the writers and the contributors at Oklafan.com your opinion by ranking these 10, and you will let them know how you feel about that top 10 and who you think number 1 is. And then you'll find out who they think number 1 is. And then, everybody just know who everyone's number 1 is, because that's kind of what's going to happen here. And that's pretty cool, though.
And Burnham, be sure to let us know when they're filming Aliens vs. Predators 3 in your beard.
Awesome. I will do it. In fact, I will try. That is lined up, and I will see if I can get you, Jordan. I will see if I can get you booked as like victim number 37.
It sounds great,
that's
man.
That's in the left corner. It's the left corner of my beard, but it's a good warm spot.
It's my favorite corner.
Rob,
dog.
are you going to turn in do you have these 10 names?
I'll get them. I mean, I can catch it on YouTube after.
Okay, I'm holding it up to the camera.
You can't see anything.
I want people. I don't know. I think they can see it. Maybe.
I
They'll
think
zoom in or
they.
something. I don't know. They can go back and listen to it too, because I said it. We're at about the 3-minute and 16-minute mark. That gives me about 60 seconds to say goodbye to everyone, because the last 2 minutes and 16 seconds will be our video of the week. So I need to thank Twitterless Rob for joining us tonight. Matter of fact, Twitterless Rob.
Hey, real quick. Hey, you need to start doing a Shooting Range top 20.
About what?
Just about the scene? Okay.
Wrestlers.
Hey, I'll
Okay.
do my. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll do our top 20 next week. We'll do another Johnny Z Hates, another This Week's Fact with the Fact Man, Chris Burnham. Matter of fact, Chris, I'd like to invite you to join us for the Shootin Range's top 20 of 2013 next week. That was recommended by Twitterless Rob. We got about 14 seconds. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Burnham. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Faust. If you got the YouTube up, check out this video. Although some of you will not like what you see, it's gruesome.
It is.
Enjoy.
Oh.
If you're with us on the YouTube, if you're with us on the YouTube, oh God.
You
I have to guess that this involves Tyler Bateman.
come on, work with me, Dave.
Oh, it's devastating. Oh, yeah. Oh, he hit me back on the face.
That wasn't stiff enough.
90 seconds.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, I felt it.
Gosh, that's that part that's really hard to numb.
Oh, this is horrible.
from what, a kick?
Got no
Right
other
now they're
choice.
showing my stitches, Rob. They're showing my stitches.
Thank you.
What
Are
was
you watching it?
What that was.
What was
That
the
was
Did you hear
stiffest
really
that,
shot
Rob?
from?
Did
Robert.
you just hear that lady?
You mean it's not for this
Okay.
right here?
What was the stiffest shot from?
You know, this is part of it.
The blood, sweat, and tears.
Do you think you could clear me to wrestle next Saturday, Doctor?
Mm-mm. She rolled her eyes, John. She thinks you're crazy.
That doesn't sound like a move of any kind.
That sounds like you just punched.
When is it safe to take a shower?
You can take a shower when you go home. 24 hours. I wouldn't get this thing wet for 24 hours.
But I could
Can
go,
you wash
I could
around
go
it?
lower body, right?
Woo, this is rough.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what a hot shower does to the muscles.
How much time we got left?
Hey.
Thanks a lot, Rob.
Love you, Rob.
How's it look?
Much
the
better.
shooting
My
range.
peeps.
It's gonna be much better when I get back to